Welcome to Esport News, guys. Recently, in the Trackmania community, we witnessed the Asia and Oceanic Trackmania Championship, and we saw some participants from many different countries. India has a rapid growing community in Trackmania, and we saw some new talents competing at the most prestigious Trackmania tournament of the region. Two members from the Indian Trackmania community really stood out and were able to give tough competition and matched up to the top players of the Asia and Oceanic region. They were Kunal and Iridium. Unfortunately, they couldn't qualify for the grand finals but managed the best Indian performance at the AOTC. Iridium managed for a solid 6th position, while Kunal managed an outstanding 7th position in the tournament. So let's watch some of the highlights from the tournament and understand how they progressed through it. Kunal and Iridium qualified for the lower bracket semi-finals after a dominating performance against the Korean players in the qualifiers.
And both India players, Kunal and Iridium, upset Chung and Kartak, so both Koreans are eliminated. Definitely one of the biggest surprises we have seen so far from the lower bracket. It was not played on stream, it was played off stream. We're now going on to the wave. We'll be starting with Dirt Ring, so the match we'll have is between Planetary Goose, Kunal, Iridium, and Aino. It'll be our lowers bracket semi-final, where some of the players did manage to get some sick upsets in the semi-finals. So now we see some new names from the previous editions, as currently Planetary Goose has been looking pretty good so far, and also being at the top of the pack. Iridium as well, having a sick improvements happening lately in the world of Trackmania as well, being probably has picked up some of the skills watching Renati and some other players as well. So Heavily definitely has stepped up his game with preparing himself as well, as he gets a very nice bobsled, overtakes Planetary Goose now in a very similar part, as he gets a bit more exit speed coming on to the next part. Kunal is a bit out of the round, as this round is looking as a Iridium and Planetary Goose 1v1 so far, but Aino says not on my watch and jumps in, gets sick tech turn and goes to the top, and now challenges Iridium for the 10 point. A bit of an oversteer from Aino, and he does not manage to snipe it, and it will be Iridium taking the plus 10 points. Aino in second, Planetary Goose in third, and Kunal is somewhere at the back, and he will be securing the 4th place and 3 points.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was on Kunal's perspective there. He just had an unfortunate bonk, decided to reset, and then made another bonk immediately after. The players, yeah, that was very tight between those three, back and forth, lead swapping multiple times as we get into the second round here. Planetary Goose again and Iridium sort of challenging each other for the lead. Aino, oh, is it Ino or Aino? How would I pronounce it?
Aino.
Aino. Very good. He was definitely. I'm seeing slightly different playing styles here, with some people going a lot more aggressive on the way into corners, and some people really, really focusing, as we get a huge mistake there from Iridium, and I think he's given up on this round. Very unfortunate there. Planetary Goose leading us away still, and Aino coming through as get someone disappear there.
Planetary Goose hit the wall, and he got forced into the wall from the right side to the left, and went out of the round.
Disappointing for him there, but good points again from Aino. Is Aino? I'm gonna keep saying Aino. Iridium's having another bad little section. Do they still get placement points if they don't finish in time?
No,
or do they get
there's nothing. If you don't finish, you get nothing. So looks like Iridium will get a DNF, and Planetary Goose was super close to the finish. We only have 2 finishers in this round. We call them the Fiesta rounds, where they're a bit of chaotic, a bunch of inconsistencies happening. This was one of the maps that's a bit of a more consistency based. It's a more consistency based map. A lot of the main thing is about surviving, maintaining the pace, at the same time having the pressure from the others from the back. So main thing is just trying to keep up your pace and trying to, avoid the walls. As Kunal went for a bit of a release there, and still managed to maintain it. So the best ideal part is that you want to do minor releases to adjust the lines. to get as much, less odds of crashing throughout the sections. Iridium with a massive oversteer goes into wobble, loses all of the speed, since on bobsleigh you want to be as straight as possible. I'm not trying to just play safe, saw the mistakes from the previous round, and trying to just, just play safe and try to wait for others' mistakes, which is actually a very good mentality to have when you're starting off in Trackmania. Just trying to, if you don't not the fastest, just wait on everyone having mistakes. Very useful to also in modes like ranked, as this we're gonna be more consistent rounds, as Einol will take the first place, Iridium in second, and Planetary Goose in third, and Kunal in fourth. One small fun fact that Einol actually wrote in his Twitter bio on how to pronounce his name as well.
I know.
So it's a lot of people. He wrote it like, so it's Einol, and not something different.
Awesome. Well, he drove that race very good, although that ending was a little bit close to the checkpoint at the end for my liking. He did bonk a little bit, but managed to squeeze through right at the end. I've lost many a run to that to going through the very last checkpoint. And as we've got a very even round so far, all the cars overlapping here. Totally different lines on this ice section though, as Cunnel actually getting a really good ice section there and getting himself far in the lead, followed by Iridium. And Einol chilling in third. He doesn't need to push too hard for points. I believe we might have had a big mistake that I missed from Planetary Goose. He appears to have done a reset. Einol still nice and close enough to be able to challenge at the end here, as we've got all three cars within a couple of lengths of each other, going through the line, and not quite as pacey as we saw in the upper bracket round, but very, very close. The drivers all driving to each other's pace here, as Cunnel gets a win under his belts, and Einol quite a lead he's got already, but it can all swap pretty fast when it is first to 70, correct?
Yep.
In the lower bracket?
Yep, so in lower bracket it's playing till 70 points, so the rounds will be way shorter. As a bit more swifter, as there's going to be around approximately like 3 maps played instead of the regular 5 on average. So now we'll be going into Nullius. We saw some Nullius being played last match as well, as there were a lot of close rounds. One of the maps where a bunch of micro adjustments are the thing that makes or breaks the pace. We have seen most of these players being most of these players that seems like, even though they are the ones who managed to pull upsets, eliminating people like Simply Nick, Chung out of the event. Like, the main thing is probably that their consistency. Their pace is not the fastest one, but the main thing what they're doing is just trying to play safe as possible and wait for others' mistake. And now I think we're now starting to see 4 of the same kind of people with the same kind of play style in the match, and immediately I think it will give some nice close fights. Throwing out, as the warm-up round that we saw there was already quite close.
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying the style of racing. It feels like, for me, real race, like motorsport racing, where all guys are all doing what they need to do just enough to get the win. You know, whether you win by 1/10 of a second or you win by a second, it's still the win. It's the points that matter. Doesn't really matter if you get world record or not. As we are now into the first round of this map, and again, all 4 cars overlapping. Very, very, very close. Just from the looks of it, I think this is a map I'd really enjoy trying to get good at. As there's lots of little technical bits. Oh, Planetary Goose makes a big mistake and has to reset. So now it's a 3-horse race. Iridium in the lead. Einol now right behind Iridium. Who's going to get through? It's all about the angle of the jump here. And, only 0.05 of a second in it. Iridium gets it.
Yeah,
and,
not too bad of times as well. 51.1 are pretty solid rounds as well from the top players. Both Iridium and Einol showcasing definitely a decent pace. Of course, not the fastest pace that we have seen today, with the fastest time being was Y Min, which was 50.8. But still relatively solid pace, being 0.6 or just 6 tenths from the current world record, which is by Bits, the Lithuanian player. As we're coming into the next round, we have seen a bunch of relatively close rounds so far on this map. There's all the time just one or two players having a bit of a bigger mistake, but so far the field seems relatively tight as Aino has a bit more optimal start, puts himself in the lead as Planetary Goose hits the side all the time, minor touches, force himself out around. As we have seen that these rounds are so close, so people need to commit to some of the minor mistakes as Kudal hits the CP from the side as well. So again, a 1v1 between Iridium and Aino in this match, as Aino picks up the lead, increases the gap to 0.3, and will win the round with a very consistent pace from him, always doing the 51.1s, and is clearly enough to take these plus 10 pointers on this map.
Yeah, Planetary Goose, maybe just the nerves kicking in now after knocking out some very big names in the previous winners in the previous rounds that he was in. So unfortunately coming a little bit unstuck on this map, but maybe we can see him become a bit more consistent now, as again he goes straight into the lead there off the start. Got some great lines through here. Just got to be careful not to be trying too hard and cutting corners too much, although maybe that's the way he feels he's got to play now that he's had 2 lower placings in a row. Again, all cars within about 0.2 of a second of each other after the first few checkpoints. Planetary Goose and Iridium just side by side, very, very close. Very, very similar lines as well. As we coming through, Iridium just getting the better here with a bit of an SD slide there, and then beating away. Planetary Goose just getting a little bit of a slide, unfortunately, there. And as Planetary Goose actually gets Cunnel on the jump angle, I believe, hitting the checkpoint a bit earlier. It looked like Cunnel was going to get him until they went through the checkpoint right at the end there. Well done.
Yeah, he was forcing a bit of the outside line, so he gets a shorter airtime through the finish, which a bit worked out. It was very, very close by Kuno, who almost sniped him at the end. Like, Kuno got a very, very nice low jump from the inside line. I was actually thinking that he might actually snipe him, as he had very good access speed. As we're coming up on the last round of Nullius. So far we have seen relatively close pace. One thing that to mention is that so far this has been the highest placement from India and New Zealand players in the AOTC history so far. So far we haven't seen an India player or a player from New Zealand be in the top 12 of these tournament series so far, so that's definitely one of the highest performances so far, as we have a very close round between Kuno with a bit of an outside line, loses the position, Aino flips outside, and Planetary Goose takes the win of the round. Really close round, all player top 3. If Aino hadn't made a mistake at the very end, that could have been all players potentially being just 1/10. Not the fastest times, but still a very, very close round between all those two. And now the points are starting to close in as well. And I think we might even see a quadruple finalist in the next map. Do you know what quadruple finalist means?
When everyone's at 100 points, I'm
Yeah,
guessing?
I mean, but everyone
tight.
is at finalist, and that means there's 100% there's going to be a winner happening, and usually there's the biggest amount of fiesta happening, because that's the most stressful thing that you can be in as a player. Because you can only win, you can't be second, third, or fourth. Like, being second, third, or fourth doesn't matter at all. You just need to win. And there's a good shot that we might see this, since both Iridium and Aino are at 56 and 55 points respectively. So if they take 1 and 2 each, they both come in a double finalist. Kunal is a bit behind with 43. Both Planetary Goose and Kunal definitely showing a bit of inconsistencies from the previous maps. This now going a bit more inconsistent map with a bit of a mini RPG, plastic grass hybrids. I don't know how you can say this. Map with that's has definitely showed a bunch of players having forcing the mistakes out of them, and I think this might be the map where we'll see something like that as well.
Yeah, it's very, very tight at the Up the top here, I'm excited. It's been 1 or 2 points back and forth. They all keep swapping, and I think everyone's had a win and everyone's had a lose as well. So there's they all know this is it. This is the one to get in the finals, and they're pushing it to the max. As Iridium has got himself off to a small lead, actually swapping places back and forth a little bit with totally different lines across this grass section here. Einol just chilling in second. And Cunnel as well. As I swapped around, I believe I lost.
Yeah, both Iridium and Planetary Goose crashed down with Einol with the sick upper gear at the moment.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. Great job. Awesome. That's a pretty decent time as well. 50.2.
Well, ideally, you want to look out people doing in like mid 49s. Was a very close round actually, from most of the people. Planetary Goose not finishing. That will definitely cost him, as he doesn't get any points from the round. Despite having a big of a mistake, he'll of course still want to finish, at least get those couple of points in, as well as that usually gets a bit of a regret for some of the players when they don't manage to get those small pointers, as now we have, I believe it, wait, what? What was that? So both Planetary Goose and Einol both had very weird bumps from the side and the crashes out, so we both have the India players in the 1-2 positions. Iridium currently in first place. If Iridium gets this 10-pointer, he will be the very first person to enter in finalist, and Kunal will probably not say no to extra 7 points, as he gets an upper gear as well. So if he denies Iridium the end, however, the gap is a bit too big. I really doubt that it will give an imp. Oh, it's very close though. Oh, only 400s between them. Almost was very, very close on potentially sniping. If Kunal will get the 7-pointers, and we'll get our first finalist of the match. And Kunal will be on his Iridium will be on his first finalist opportunity to put himself in the losers bracket final.
I think we've got a little bit of chat cursing going on there. Someone just mentions this Einol's best map, and immediately he rolls the car. Got to be careful what you say in chat, guys. It can cause things to happen. I swear it does. Bit of caster's curse. Oh no! As we've had another bonk there, dropping the wheels off the edge of the map. Not a lot of loss though. So if someone else makes a major mistake, there's a good chance that he can recover one position or more. Iridium with a nice lead here. Cunnel right behind. Last little section now as we jump through. Both getting quite a good run through here. Looks like Iridium is going to take this way comfortably. Yeah, nice 1, 2, 3 finish as we go across. And then Einol doing a great job. Not losing too much time, but yeah, unfortunately having to do a small reset there. So, finalists. Oh, whoa, that's actually winner for Iridium, sorry. My bad.
Yeah, Iridium is the very first person who moves on to the losers bracket final, so only one slot left between the 3 players, between Einol, Kunal and Planetary Goose. Einol at the moment in the best opportunity, as he's the person in finalist. He will have to try to deny everyone else from getting those extra points, as Kunal needs a top 2 placement to put himself into finalist as well. So Planetary Goose, this is his last time now to properly step up his game and try to get those extra points in the denied wins, because if Einol wins this, the match is over and both him and Kunal are eliminated. And so far it does looking so, as Einol is in the lead, but will he get the gear? Both players got the lower gear. I think if there was the upper gear, all very straight line from Planetary Goose. Bit of a too big of an oversteer at the very end. And that could have potentially cost him the round, as we have Einol and Iridium moving on to the winners bracket final. Sorry, not winners bracket. Lower bracket final that will be played out shortly.
A guaranteed prize money. So, and the 2 that don't get through, they're the ones going home so close, but yet so far. As the first round starts away. And we've got a tight little bunch at the front, but I believe we had Einol making a mistake. Oh no, Seb losing his ice slide, completely stopping almost, as Trizzo, the Aussie, is now quite a way ahead, although Iridium having to reset as well. Those are maybe that pressure of finals being right there. A couple of big mistakes coming out from the players here, but Trizzo's driving nice and consistent here. A full second ahead already in this first round. And I'm just going to follow him through because he's looking very clean here. Widening that gap to 1.1 seconds to Einol, and great finish there.
Yeah, and this was what I was saying, that Einol is the player who's like not that fast, but he's also very consistent, and there's a bunch of, mistakes happening from some other players, and he's definitely the person who always, is there to collect those extra points for him, and he does what was the main thing and how he ended up in some of the top matches later on as well, coming out the next round of Mist. So far, Seb has been looking a bit iffy. He went for the release and dropped the gear on the ice bar that cost him the round. Looks like he did make it this time around. Oh, yep, of course I had to say it. And but since Seb is now out of the round, we have a relatively close pack from the 1, 2, 3 positions. Anil goes for a bit of wide third line, tries to build up as much, like trying to get a decent SD is very important here, because the extra speed you get from this part is maintained through the rest of the track till the drift turn, so as much speed you can gather is very, very important. Relatively big gaps there. Einol gets a bit better wall ride, closes a bit on Carrizo. Closes in on the gap as we have a very close 1-2 so far between the two players, and Einol hits the side at the very end, has to go for the safe finish. Still managed to maintain his third position, but it's actually not looking Sebas. He was one of the favorites. Him only getting third and fourth placements so far between the rounds. It's definitely not looking that great.
Well, Trizzo, dream start so far. He's 2 for 2. Let's see if he can make it 3 for 3. He's driving very, very quick times from what we've seen today, and very, very close to securing his way through. Again, remember, this is first to 70, so he only needs to do this 8 times, right? He needs to get to 70 and then win. Oh, Seb having another bad slide. Not what he's looking for. Pressure really getting to him. I don't think I really saw him make a mistake on that section when we watched him race earlier, as Einol has a little bit of a handy lead. Carrizo second, Iridium third. And the front pack's pretty close. Carrizo's got a lot of pace here as he's trying to chase down Einol. Einol making a mistake in the last sector last time through here. Will he make that again? No, he doesn't. Across the finish line. Oh, no, Trizzo made the mistake, but has to reset. So loses 1 position, 2 points. Still will have the lead, I believe. And Seb just... Oh, Seb does get the finish, which is good, but 13 seconds behind. Really unfortunate. He's going to be feeling that a bit, I think. Not finishing one round and getting a few low placings.
Yeah, so far my prediction is looking as the absolute opposite. I mentioned that Iridium and Seb are potentially the people who could go through this match, and it's looking like absolute opposite, as Carrizo and Einol are the ones who are looking out the strongest ones in this match. Carrizo getting a very nice exit point. Iridium is out of the match. I don't know what's happening in this map. Is the really pressure getting to them, or... Probably yes, as Carrizo is looking pretty consistent so far. Definitely has cashed in the most amount of points. It's pretty big gaps, to be honest, in this match. Over 0.9 of a difference between the players. Definitely not the best showcase of this region so far. But yeah, at the moment, Carrizo definitely cashing in on everyone's mistakes, as there has been a mistake between everyone else. And definitely he puts himself with another free plus 10 pointer for him, as everyone else had a mistake throughout the round.
Yeah. If you want to see bad representation of the region, just watch my streams, all right, guys? I don't think we'd be finishing this map much at all. It's a lot of technical bits, a lot of changing up. It definitely seems to be that ice section was just throwing the players. the curveball there. Not something that at this level generally they're hitting pretty consistently. And again, I don't think Seb was really making many mistakes earlier today, just a couple, but 3 rounds in a row, he completely stopped or slid off the ice section. That's not what you want to see. But we're moving on to the next map.
Yeah, which will be the crew device map, Sun's Retreat. So at the moment, after first map, we have Carrizo in the lead. He did manage to win 3 out of the 4 rounds. That puts himself at 35 points. Arnold in second with 27, Ridium with 20, and Seb with 18. Seb and Iridium definitely not showcasing what they're capable of. They were the favorites in this match, and I feel like this was one of the reasons. The bit of pressure got to him, because there hasn't been. Well, it's a bit of a shame that most of the people from the Asian OC region, the only tournament they can play, not counting the COTD, is the AOTC. So there's not much opportunity to play in tournaments. So this is so you don't get tournaments like every weekend or something like that, and due to that, the pressure is easy to get up there. And usually, if you haven't done something well, it's become quite stressy if you're not, done it. So especially playing in again these pressure situations definitely gives a lot of, the good old handshakers a bit. And that can lead to a bunch of mistakes throughout the rounds. We're going on the first round on Sun's Retreat. Currently watching Criso, the leader in terms of points. Looking definitely as the favorite for Australians, as he's currently the only OC representative in the top 6 so far. Iridium currently leading race with a bit more optimal start. Seb in a very close fight with 3rd place between him and Heino. Relatively close back. Iridium with more optimal starts. Heino does get a bit more excess speed, as at the moment Seb is in 4th place. We saw in the previous match that Seb had a bunch of mistakes hitting the side of that turn. So far looks like a nice and close round so far. Bit too big of an oversteer by Heino. Loses a bunch of excess speed and covering the next part. Seb definitely trying to push the pace a bit more. Now goes for the overtake on Criso. Heino goes for a full bonk, ping ball bonk, and hits the sides 2 times, puts himself out of this round, as Iridium goes for a solid first place +10 finisher, as Criso was very close and potentially snacking on Snap, but Seb still managed to maintain the 2nd place, as Criso gets 3rd, and Ninal, with the mistake previously, still gets to finish with +3.
That was very close. In the warm-up, Iridium did a 9-9, sorry. That was showing his pace a little bit in the warm-up, so I think he feels pretty comfortable winning that first round and showing in the warm-up that he can nail his lines as well. Again, this map's everyone's being a lot more consistent at the start, which is good to see, although Einol has just made a small mistake, as I've said that, of course. Sorry, Arnold. No mean to cast a curse. And the other 3 are all nice and tightly bunched. Anyone could make it with a couple of good corners here. Flying through the mid section of the track now. Nothing too major, though Seb taking it over the lead from Iridium, though. As a few different lines appearing through this section. Seb getting a very clean run through there. And Cruzo just coming through nice and smooth. Who's going to get the nice exit? Seb, Iridium. Oh, Cruzo, he did get it. But he bounced back the other way. Einol, will he get the finish? It looks like he will. Very unfortunate, making a few mistakes there. Trying to get his speed up and does get through.
Yeah, Einol's main key that he had was his consistency, and him not existing, it really does not put him the best performance out of him, as now he was the top 2 in terms of points. Now he drops down to 4th in terms of placements, as both Iridium and Seb are having a way better performance on this map than on the previous map. Now getting those +10s, +7s in. Einol went for a way more safer drift, at least avoid to, rather lose the point 2 from a bit more safer drift than, +2 seconds than from a mistake. by hitting the wall. Currently close round between the top 3 players. Seb and Iridium definitely stepping up the game. Very close line there by Seb, almost touched the ball from the inside as previously. Bit of a bumpy line there by Iridium, and he gets forced from the outside, gets even overtaken by Aino. As at the moment it's looking like a 1v1 between Seb and Krizo so far. Seb at the moment leading, goes for the... Both players trying to get those extra derby. It doesn't really save that much time, as Seb wins the round with a pretty decent time, 1 minute 0.08. Krizo as well with a 0.3, but 0.3 was sadly not enough to take the plus 10 points in this round, but still plus 7 gives a nice extendability over Iridium, who now falls on to 3rd place.
Yeah, Seb, totally different this map. Coming up from the bottom of the leaderboard all the way through towards the lead here. He's charging back. Very, very quick on this one. I believe at the start I was like, it felt like he was quick on some maps, but then made some mistakes. And clearly this is showing here. He's showing a lot of pace on this map. Looking almost unbeatable at times, as we do have a bit of a reverse this time. Chorizo being the most consistent though. He's just finishing between third and first. He's really not had any major mistakes that's caused him to come completely last more than once, I believe. And as Einol makes a little bit of a mistake and Chorizo gets a really nice line together. Einol's got a bit more exit speed, goes high. Will this work for him? Will he come back? Chorizo's going to come out and win with this one. Einol second and Seb third, Iridium fourth.
What actually Krizo did there at the end, that he managed to get a tighter line and he managed to get the SD position throughout the entirety of the last part that gained him that extra lead over Rhino. That's why the overtake happened at the very end. And that play definitely paid off quite well from Krizo's side as well. Now going into the potentially last map, as the lower bracket always has at 70 points. So Krizo just needs to get... Oh, no, okay, he's... Okay, if Krizo does get second place in this round, he will get the... he will get, 1 point off. So he needs to win this round to put himself into finalists, while everyone else has to work themselves up a bit. Seb at the moment at 50 points, Einol at 45, Iridium at 43. So this has a good chance of we might see this map being the one where we might see our potential finalists. So the top 2. So Seb.
We want Seb's perspective there.
Yeah. Of course. It's a warm up, so it doesn't have any cost there, but. It was quite a comedic way to... Well, yeah, hopefully we won't see that happening the round. But yeah, at the moment, top 2 players from this match will move on to the grand final, while the bottom 2 will be eliminated. So at the moment, Krizo looking as the best shot, having a bit of a lower bracket one, who managed to climb from himself way from this final. And he has a good shot of doing so as well to put himself in the grand final again, as we're going in the first round on Peace Soup. Seb definitely one of the players who needs to make a comeback and who actually can make the comeback. One of the fastest players from the region. Has been quite inconsistent today as he gets a bit airtime, tries to force that inside line, gets forced on a bit of an higher uphill. It does force the outside, the airtime a bit there. As there's a very close race currently for the top 3 positions. Einol currently leading, Iridium in second place. Krizo trying to get that plus 10 pointers to enter himself into finalist, whereas as it seems like it's gonna be quite close. Einol currently leading, and it's gonna be Krizo winning it by just 0.03 of a second. And now we'll have our first finalist, and Krizo will have the amazing opportunity to potentially qualify himself to the grand final.
All right, I'm going to start on Krizo's perspective here, because it's all for him right now. This guarantees him in the money if he gets fastest positions. We've got a bonk early on. Who was that? That was Iridium making that mistake. Trizzo still in third though at the moment, getting a nice bug slide into second, then back to third. Seb, oh no, Crizzo did the same mistake that Seb did last round, so this probably won't be the round that he gets through. I really like the aggressive line he took though in that last round across the end. He really cut the gap at the end as aggressively as he could and saved those few hundreds to get himself that win. But looks like Seb's going to bring this one home if he doesn't cut too much. He doesn't. And Seb, Einol, and Trizo, and then Iridium. Oh, did Iridium finish?
Yeah, he did. One thing to mention that Curizo did manage to, by placing third, he does deny Iridium a couple of points, so definitely increases the gap for Iridium to have a chance to reach the finalist, as Curizo is still in his finalist opportunity. Like I said, usually seeing the car, the red number in cup mode is, you know, when the pressure definitely goes up a bit, so it's a bit more difficult to play mentally, especially if you're not experienced to play under this kind of format. As currently, yeah, as we're starting to see a bunch of mistakes happening from Curizo due to that. Iridium also not having the best rounds lately, having a definitely good showcase of his performance previously, but a bunch of inconsistencies now starting to pop up in the later parts of the event, as Idol got a very bad lower gear there. But with the big gap between him and Curizo, he'll definitely still get the +7 as Seb gets another +10 point, which is a pretty good time as well, 49.6. That's a very good time actually from him for rounds, and due to that, Seb will also be putting himself into finalists, so we'll have two people with finalist status for the last round of P-Soup.
Yes, very close, and Einol can also put himself into a finalist status this time too, so it's going to be very tight here. I think if anything it's coming down to which player is better on which map. Is there an order to the maps or is it completely random?
It's a bit randomized.
Wow, okay, so Einol actually in the lead here, so it's very tight. There's only a car length in it. Trizo doing very well. Seb going very quick over there. Can Trizo get through this last section back into the lead? No, it's looking like Seb might be able to get the win and secure himself the final spot. Trizo going for a very tight line, and Seb is our first person through to the finalists. So
yeah, what a round to end it off as well. Seb puts himself with only all the top 3 players being in, doing sub 50 times and being only 1.05 seconds between each other. Iridium very struggling at the bottom, not getting any points during this map. And now we'll have a double finalist opportunity, or a double finalist situation between Curizo and Idol. For the last slot, Iridium definitely needs to step up his game now, because this is the last moment. He literally, like, he can't afford to be second. Otherwise, someone else will take the slot and he will be eliminated. So he needs to win 3 rounds in a row if he wants to make it to the
new map. Though this is a good chance, although he bonks in practice pretty badly there.
Well, it's better to get all the crashes out in warm-up, you know, so...
Yes. Though, again, new map, so... Wow. First time on a map, you know, no real warm-up, just this one run around. And, although the players would be plenty practiced up at this point, they've made it this far in the tournament, played it a lot of times. How early did they find out about the maps? That's a question.
There was 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
So they're pretty well practiced. And yeah, man, this is exciting. Yeah, the good luck's coming out there.
Yeah, this might be the final deciding round where we'll see either the top. There's just 1 slot left, and at the moment Curizo and Einol are both in the 1-2 positions so far. So Iridium is the only chance for India to be represented in the grand final, but he really needs to win all of the rounds. So this might be also the final round, might not be the final round as well, depending on how Iridium or other players perform. So far, very close pack field. Iridium tried to go for the outside line, build a bit more speed. Really very close round between all of the players. Players going for a bit of an inside line, trying to not get as much speed. So far, Krizo looking very good so far. But the round is looking very close, only 0.2 a difference. Iridium is out, so we'll get a finalist ending off on this round. Krizo gets the lower jump. He jumps a bit to the side. Einol tries to attack from the inside, gets the lower jump, and Krizo will be taking it with a 51.6, which is not one of the fastest times, but it was enough to put himself into the grand final position. Due to that, we have Einol and Iridium being eliminated from the event.